All right. Welcome back to the Board Drill Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Kyle. With me is my co-host, Matt. Tonight, we have a special guest, Coach Bobby Bowring, who's the DC and linebackers coach at San Juan High School in Utah. Coach, welcome to the Board Drill.
Hey, thanks, guys, for having me.
So here we are again, Matt. You know, we get coaches all throughout the country, which is what we love. Now we're back to Utah, right? We've had a Utah coach, a two-time guest Utah coach, and now we've got our second one. So it's exciting. We're touching all those states, although, right, like we talked about, boarddrill.com, we still do not have a subscriber from Nevada. So, Coach, maybe if you know anybody kind of next door to you over there in Nevada, you can tell them to go ahead and subscribe to us on the Board Drill.
I know we'll have to do something. That's next door, so
just go knock on them, let them know. So
yeah.
Anyways, tonight, Coach, we're going to talk about some coverages out of 3x1 from the 3-4, correct?
Yep. I got some stuff that we put together. It's just some stuff that we run specifically to 3x1 sets, and I hope that it's informative. It can help somebody out there maybe improve some of their game. So,
absolutely, Coach. I love it. So Coach is going to go ahead and share his screen. In the meantime, if you're out there, if you're listening, please like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on TikTok, on boarddrill.com if you want to get weekly, our articles sent to you weekly. Good Lord. Sorry, my daughter just ate shit in the background and is now crying. So I guess we're going to have that on the podcast. So sorry, that was a little distracted. So anyways, if you're listening, hopefully that gave you a good laugh. But please follow us on Twitter, follow us on TikTok at Board Drill, subscribe to us on www.boarddrill.com to get weekly articles. It's awesome if you subscribe on boarddrill.com. All the articles get sent directly to your inbox. So super simple if you want to read the content that Matt and I are putting out. Matt, did you have a question there?
No, I was trying to cover up the vacuum cleaner. I was going to see what it took to cover that.
Yeah, we're a train wreck tonight. All right, so Coach has shared his screen. Coach, go ahead and take it away and make sure that this train doesn't get further off the rails here.
I'll try not to. No promises on that, though. So, okay. Well, kind of like I said in the introduction, it's very specific. It's a coverage that we like to run specifically to 3x1 sets. So I'm going to kind of just go through some of the points, reasons why we like it, kind of some of the nuances of it, and some of the things that you might want to, think about if you're thinking about running something like this. And then I do have some game film and stuff like that too. So we base out of a 3-4 set. We're an odd front team. Just went to that a couple of years ago. And I think I'm like most DCs probably around the country. Like my first and foremost thing that I'm worried about is stopping the run. Right. So that's probably the biggest advantage that I like when I'm looking at this coverage is it is more favorable for our alignment for guys to get into the run fit. And I'll kind of show you how we line up to that.
Now, Coach, real quick, sorry to interrupt right away, but 3-4, what are you guys doing with your front three there? Are you tight front? Are you 5-0-5? Are you 4-0-4?
So we switch it up a little bit. We base out of a 4-0-4.
Okay.
But I don't know if it's unique or not, but I slant my guys 99% of the time. So
gotcha.
So really, and I can show you on the film, you'll see it on the film, we end up in an under front probably most of the time. A lot of the times we like to bring that backside and slant everybody kind of to the strength. But we do have different things that we do with that as well. Like we do play a little bit in a tight front, a little bit with the 5-0-5. I probably should get into that a little bit more. I haven't very much, but yeah, we're based out of a 4-0-4. So does that answer your question? I guess.
Yeah, that's perfect, Coach. Keep going. Yeah,
okay.
Sorry. I know that somebody immediately in their head is going to be like, what does he run? Is he in a tight front? Is he in a 5-0-5?
I know, that's true. You say odd front, and there's like 20 different ways that people run odd front. So anyways, so, okay, well, with that too, so on the passing game side, one of the things that I really love about this coverage, it's very like robber type coverage. And so it gives us the flexibility to like disguise who's kind of going where, flexibility on what's going on depending on the game situation. And then there are a lot of different adjustments that we can do with this depending on the team that we're playing and kind of the looks and stuff that we're getting. So I'm going to try and hit all those things here today. So out of like a base 3x1 set here, kind of how we align to it, and this is where the run fit kind of gets into play here, is typically before we kind of started running this coverage, we would align our outside linebacker. I call him my Sam. That's probably what I'll just call him from here on out. So my strong side outside linebackers are Sam. Obviously, a lot of times this guy's your flat player in a lot of different coverages that people run, and he's a lot wider out here to the field, so he doesn't get out leveraged. But with our 3x1 set and our safety roll coverage, I probably should have just shown it on the front end here. So this is what it looks like on the front end zone-wise. So all we're doing is we ISO the backside guide up here, and then everything from the ISO side over, it's cover 3 is what it is really. So safety's your flat player, your outside linebackers, your hook to curl, and then your Mike and your Will kind of share back here, hook to curl. We blitz this backside outside linebacker a lot, kind of like I was saying. So he doesn't really account for a pass coverage zone here. And then your other safeties roll middle of the field, corner on this side's middle of the field coverage too. So the reason we like that, obviously, is we can tighten this Sam up a little bit, and that allows him to get into the run fit a little bit more. So at all times against a 3x1 set, where most teams I feel like are getting a little thinned out in the box, I've still got 7 guys that can be dedicated to the run in the box here. So that's honestly the biggest thing that I love about this that we do. Here's just another look here, like with a sniffer or like tight end too. I've got a couple clips with some tight end sets here. We can tighten this guy up. We're not worried about him getting out leveraged out here because that's not his responsibility anymore. So that's kind of the base of how we're running things here. And then, just kind of a breakdown of this, and we'll go through all those pieces here too.
So what would you say that Sam's alignment is, right? So this is 3x1 open. So what is, when you're teaching that Sam, his alignment is what?
I try and teach him just to split the 3 guy and the end guy on the line of scrimmage. I'd like for him to be kind of apexed there is what it is. It does change depending on like these guys' alignment for sure. So like that's kind of like with the sniffer, he can tighten down a little bit more if we've got like tight end or sniffer look here.
Yeah.
Like another look that we'll get that I've got from some teams, I probably should have put something up here, but like we'll even get kind of like a condensed set here with the 2 and the 3 guy. And so depending on what the team's doing, I might tighten him up or I might widen him out because sometimes he kind of gets washed out. And again, it is very game specific, I guess. I guess that's kind of a cop-out answer with how we do it, but it is pretty game specific depending on where the team's trying to attack us at, and we just game plan for that.
That makes sense.
So, okay, so I've got those there. So I've probably got more run fit looks here than I've got pass coverage looks. I know the title says 3x1 coverage, but I do want to show, kind of the advantage that we get here with our run fit look. So this is kind of what I was telling you about a little bit, where you kind of get a condensed 2 with a sniffer here. Again, we would like him to be a little bit wider, kind of out on the 2 guy, so he doesn't kind of get buried. And you'll see he does get buried here, and he takes himself out of the play. But pre-snap here, this is the safety here to the 3x1 side. This is my weak side safety here. You can play with this a little bit too, and again, it just depends week to week what you're doing. A lot of times I do like to disguise a little bit more and make it look more split field coverage pre-snap. This doesn't look as split field coverage with that safety in the middle of the field. But anyways, this is my roller here. So obviously we're probably like most teams in that run 3 fronts, odd front sets. Your 5 guys in the box are your spill guys, and your outside guys are your force guys typically, right? So what this allows us to do though is my outside to the strength now, he kind of can play it a little bit more spill and be more aggressive than worrying about trying to force, because I've got my safety rolling in and he's technically my force guy now. And so this clip here kind of illustrates that a little bit. So get a little bit of buck sweep action here. Like I said, this outside, I've got a better clip of him doing it right, but he totally gets buried out of the play. But he's kind of allowed to do that a little bit because he's not my force guy anymore. And I'll just run the clip through here. We get good flow, but you see my safety, he rolls all the way down. He gets a TFL because everything's kind of spilling to the outside here. So I'll run the clip through again one more time. But again, so we get the Sam in there, we get an extra spill guy, and then we get our force guy coming down making a play. It's kind of how it looks. So here's another clip here. So this is kind of almost pretty similar set. It's pretty condensed here. We've got a tight end. We've got your 2 guy, and then your wide receiver's pretty widened out here. Again, I feel like typically the way we used to play this is we would probably put this outside backer clear out here so he's not getting out leveraged. But now my safety is going to be my flat guy out here, and he's rolling into it. So the outside backer here does a lot better job than he did in the last clip. So it's kind of the same look. We're getting a buck sweep out here. Instead of him getting buried, he's aggressive and he holds his position here, and he's eating up blockers, and my safety comes in free, cleans up that tackle again for a TFL. So that's a safety coming down. I mean, I like him to start, 10, but they can play with it, 10, 12 yards, and he was a little bit open pre-snap. So here's another thing that I like about it. For people that play a lot of spread teams, bubbles and stuff are just an extension of the run game for a lot of these teams. So this is kind of a look at what it looks like against bubbles, because pre-snap here, and I'm not an offensive guy, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I know that we teach our quarterbacks to look out here and see if we got leverage, do we got numbers? Typically, I would probably say you got numbers here because we're so tight. So that's what these guys are going to do here. So we get the bubble. But the thing I really like about this is typically you've got, corners and DBs kind of like static here taking these blocks on. Well, with my safety, he's already getting a full head of steam. He's coming down, like he's rolling. I feel like it makes it so much harder for these receivers to get those blocks when he's already come in that direction anyways. And so I think we do a pretty good job here. So our outside linebacker does a good job tracking back inside, and then safety does a good job getting off the block, setting the edge, coming through. And again, that's 0 yard gain right there on a bubble play that looks like it's pretty open pre-snap. So,
oh, Coach, I can't wait to put this on TikTok. Somehow we put a bubble talk from another coach that was talking defense a couple weeks back, and I just watched the comments blow up on TikTok of everyone trying to tell me how you should throw and block the bubble. Matt, I don't know if you've seen them yet. I got to send it to you. It's just like 15 dudes that probably never took a snap of football arguing over who should have blocked who and done that. And the funny thing is, it's a tunnel screen, and they're all talking about who should block who on a bubble, and I'm dying laughing. I'm like, should I even comment on these?
This one's going to light the internet on fire then.
Oh, yeah. They're going to be like, no, that guy should have cracked here, and someone should have taken the outside linebacker. They should have left the corner free. And
so funny.
It's amazing that they forget that it's a bunch of 15, 16, 17-year-old kids playing, and no matter how much you coach it, sometimes they do the opposite of what you say.
Oh, they totally do. And it's like we'll see it even like in our practices, because our offense, we're spread. So we practice against this stuff all the time. And like even our kids that know we are rolling that safety, like they still miss him 50, 60, 70% of the time, because I mean, like you said, they're 15-year-old kids. Like you can't sit there and tell them every single time, and it's a different look for most teams too. So I like the change up. It's been pretty effective for us for sure.
So Matt, I'm going to put that clip up right until I start talking, and we're going to see what the reaction is like on TikTok, and maybe on one of the episodes we'll like post all the comments from the 2 different ones. Of
you might have to. That would be
We got some bubble screen experts on the TikTok board drill, so that's good.
That's hilarious. So here I just threw another example of it in here. It's just again another example of it. So I mean we're tight here. My outside linebacker's inside the 3 guy here. Safety's rolling down, but outside linebacker does a good job reading it and tracking out here, and then we do a good job with the safety coming down and splitting the force. We even get a good block in the back right there too. But again, just a good way to defend it, I feel like, if we're kind of on top of things. So I might end up skipping some of these run. I got so many run fit plays here. I'm sorry.
Oh no. Shh. It's okay.
That's great.
We love run fits.
So this is again like this play kind of really just demonstrates. So this is already a 3x1 set here. So we're automatically in our call. The way that it works is I've got like my base coverage call, and we run that with a double set. And then if they come out in a trips, it's just an automatic check. So it's not anything I'm calling from the sideline. They just know in our base coverage call, we get 3x1, we're running this. So
this one's interesting because it's unbalanced over, right? And now they're bringing jet from the backside of trips. So
yeah, super interesting. And we don't get this look a lot here, but what ends up happening here, I've got a kid here, and he's a little raw. Like this is probably his first varsity game. he's seeing this. I mean, he's just seeing ball and he's just flying, right? I mean, there's probably not much reading going on here, but he can get away with it here because he comes in and he blows the play up, and now again he's a spill guy technically, and now my safety can come in and he just cleans it up, and again we get a TFL in the backfield with that unbalanced set. So
you actually get a bonus fitter from the backside corner too, because he's man to man, so he actually comes across. Now I know he kind of stops here, but in theory he's a bonus fitter as well.
He is, yeah, and I don't know why he stopped because I mean he's like he's man to man backside here. Like he knows he's on an island. It's ISO, and he follows this guy wherever he goes. So he starts off really well. I wouldn't have minded if he would have just followed through with that for sure, but he does end up as an extra fitter in the box if we end up needing him. So it ends up working out really good numbers wise. So,
Coach, do you like when teams run jet sweep into the boundary?
Love it.
Isn't that fun?
Just love it. I just wish they would do it every down. So I put this clip in here. It kind of demonstrates a little bit kind of how we get in and out of the coverage a little bit too. So kind of was like I was explaining just a minute ago, our base coverage set, it's like a palms. It's a 2 read. We match kind of out of a doubles is what it is. So we start doubles here, and I've got the call in, but then we get a motion, and our kids know immediately like this is turning into a 3x1 set. So we're going to roll here. So what we'll end up having is this safety will end up rolling kind of middle of the field. My other safety's already over the 2 guy, so he doesn't really have to like move or roll very much here. But he knows now he's my roller. He's my flat guy out here. And he gets his eyes out here. And we get sweep action out. And he comes in unblocked, cleans it up, which ends up working really good. Our Sam here does a pretty good job. And sometimes you'll get that, like you can see my outside backer, he's taking an outside angle, trying to kind of be a forced guy still. And like that'll happen sometimes with motions and stuff, they don't flip the switch, that I'm forced. Now I got to go to spill because it's 3x1, but it hasn't really came to burn us too much yet, especially because we typically get pretty good linebacker flow kind of out of the middle of the box too. So
random
Coach,
question.
One thing,
Coach.
I want to compliment Coach real quick because we get a lot of film we see where defenders, as soon as they get touched, they're stopping their feet. Your guys are running through blocks, and that's awesome to see. They're running over the top of it, running through blocks. Just awesome job by your guys, especially your DBs.
Well, yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Our kids play tough. We got a bunch of tough kids. We're a little bit smaller of a school, so I got a lot of 2-way guys out here. And again, I'm like, to play both ways of a football game, you got to have some tough dudes, and we definitely have some tough kids out there for sure. So,
Coach, don't want to derail it. Quick question. Go back to the last clip.
Yeah.
So at a 2x2, when you're running palms, are you still sending kind of the overhang linebacker?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we will. And that's probably why I like running the palms coverage. Again, not to like derail the conversation from the 3x1 stuff, but I feel like it leaves me a lot of flexibility with kind of who I'm sending where, because I've always at least got guys accounted for guys. Obviously, it's a better numbers game in the pass game if I don't send the overhang, because we can go 3-on-2 essentially on the outside, but we will still send outside backers even with that, and it's been fine for us. We just kind of lose kind of the wall, getting your hands on the 2 guy a little bit, which can get a little scary sometimes, if he gets a free release, but we've done okay with it. So
yeah, I asked that question. I mean, I was a palms guy, but I based out of 4 down, and I know some 3 down guys, right? If you go to like, the hardcore Aranda stuff, right? He brings, if it's 3x1 or anything like that, he brings the end or whatever the linebacker into the boundary. But if it's balanced, they end up bringing like the will basically, and then having the tackles cop rush. So I was just curious to see what you do. Everyone does it different, so I always ask that. I'm not an odd guy. I mean, we ran some odd sets.
Yeah,
I'm an odd guy, but not an odd guy. We would run some tight front and things like that, but we didn't base out of it, so we didn't have a whole bunch of stuff like that, right? We mainly got an odd on dime packages to either blitz or drop a bunch of dudes. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, and like for us, like, and again, this is just me. I'm probably just not as intelligent as some or things like that. But, I just try and switch it up enough just to give the offense different looks.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, like this backside, outside linebacker, I kind of look for a little bit more of like a very prototypical like speed end kind of a guy because I like to rush him a lot.
Yeah.
But it does change based on the year and based on the kids that we have because, we are limited at kids sometimes. Like I had, in this clip, actually, this kid that's playing the strong safety that's rolling for me, this was his junior year 2 years ago. And then I ended up moving him to my weak side because he was just so aggressive.
Yeah.
But then that was kind of fun too, because that gave me some ability to do a little bit more things in coverage with him that I hadn't done with like my rush ends before, to where I could mess with that a little bit more too. So yeah, I wouldn't say like I'm hardcore one way or the other. It kind of just depends on the type of kid that I've got out there for sure. So
yeah, no doubt. I always like to ask that question though.
Okay. No, that was a good question. Yeah, I'm gonna skip. We've seen a lot of clips like this. Here's another good clip here. Same thing, and this kind of shows. I've shown a lot of kind of like the outside run fits, safety coming down and cleaning things up. But like this one's a really good example of the Sam kind of getting back into the run fit into the box here. So we get Sniffer here, and then we get two guys out here, and he's doing a pretty good job splitting outside. And I like it's eyes inside. I teach backers, it's always run first. He gets a good run read here, and he just he comes in, fits an open window, makes tackle in the backfield. It's really hard for offenses, and you can tell me, Matt, you're the offensive guy, but a lot of times I feel like this guy kind of gets discounted for because he's so far outside of the box sometimes, and a lot of times he ends up folding in and making a play, and he saves our ass sometimes too. Well, I think I've got a clip of one of those too. So
it's hard to account for sometimes as an offense unless you know where he's exactly going to be, and that you can maybe force him down into the box is almost better sometimes, that you can get him up on the line of scrimmage, because if he's kind of back, and linebacker land back there, it creates weird angles for the offensive line.
Yeah, for sure. And I've definitely seen that a lot with him, and it is kind of flexible, and he's not in the same spot every time. So I do think it is to our advantage a lot as a defense, that the offense can't always plan for him, coming off the edge or dropping into coverage or whatever he's doing. So like even like this is a pretty good example here too. We're just getting like a zone look here, and we've got the Sniffer, so he's a little bit tighter. But he does a good job kind of coming out and just folding right back in and making a play. I mean, that's 3rd and 5, and, we get a stop before the sticks when we get off the field. So if I didn't have him in tight like that, my middle's kind of got a little bit caught up there. They probably get a first down right there. So this one's really like, I like this clip a lot. So this is a really wide 3x1 set out here. And again, I kind of like him to apex here a little bit. He might be a little bit tight, but I'd rather err on that than the other side because I've got guys coming out here too. But so these guys are running just kind of this tackle fold play, which is really tough against an odd front. And my middles get a really, really bad read here, and they kind of get caught up in the mess. And we've got wide open gap right here, right up the middle. But luckily, we've got this outside linebacker that's kind of sitting here reading. And he does a great job folding in here and making a tackle right there in the box. If he's occupied out here, split in 2 and 3, or he's worried about that trip side out there, I mean, this might be a touchdown for these guys. I mean, they blocked it really well up front. They had us. Backers got bad reads, but he kind of saved us on that. So it's nice to kind of have that extra fitter, like I was kind of talking about, kind of from the outside. So I guess that's kind of all the stuff I had, like run fit wise, and I focused a lot with just kind of that safety and that outside backer. Like, did you guys have any other questions, I guess, with any of the run fit stuff with the coverage?
No, it's straightforward, but I loved it. I love watching run fits.
Okay, sweet.
Really do.
Yeah, I know. I could just do it all day. We had a linebacker meeting this morning, and I was going over run fits with kids, and they were trying to get out of there because they had some stuff to go to. I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. I could sit here and do this all day. Like, so I feel you. So, well, I'll get into a little bit more of kind of the coverage aspect of this now, because it is pretty powerful in the coverage side of things too. And I'll kind of go through by almost each kind of position a little bit and kind of tell you what we're looking for from each position to kind of make this work. So obviously the first one is going to be the safety that's rolling. Like, he's obviously like the key component here. So we get the 3x1 set here. I mean, I don't mind this. Sometimes I kind of told you this before. Sometimes I'd like him a little bit more split and then rotate into it just for the disguise factor of it. But sometimes that's okay too. But our strong safety here does a great job. He's, again, it's a cover 3, and he's the flat player out here. So we'd seen this concept in practice. We kind of knew it was coming. They ran it a lot. And like, again, this is like textbook. But he's rolling flat, jumps the out route, and takes it to the house, you know, and we could draw that up every single time. We would be golden. But
yeah, three strong is great against stick. I mean, it's the only coverage. I mean, Coach, I've run it. We were a split zone team. You know, we ran mini, all that other stuff, but stick's really good against a lot of stuff. It's not very good against 3 strong.
No.
And
yeah,
that is what we went to, right? If we knew a team was going to run a lot of stick or zone stick, we went to 3 strong. And that was always the way to do it. And this is a great example of why it works.
Exactly. No, yeah, I love it.
You got your quarterback. Yeah, you got your quarterback reading for the flat, right? So he's not looking for the safety to jump it most of the time. That's something they would have had to study up and make sure they weren't going to throw into it. But
he's reading the overhand.
Excellent job by your kids. Yeah, excellent job by your kids.
I know. I do have to tell you a funny story about this particular play. So we're in practice, and again, like we've repped stick at them because again, like these guys run a lot of stick.
Yeah.
And we've repped it. We've seen it. Like we've gone over it. We know what we want to do. And so I'm taping this kid's ankles before the game, the safety, and he's kind of looking at me. I'm talking to him about the game and stuff, and he goes, "Hey, Coach, like if we see that stick concept, like can I just like jump that, like just jump in front of it?" And I'm like,
yes.
Yeah, I guess that's okay. Like, so I don't know. It was funny. He did that. I'm like, yeah, of course. Like, freaking go pick that thing. You know, go make a play. And sure enough, same game, went and did it. So it was cool. It was good for that kid. So,
Coach, we had something similar, not on the out route of the stick, but you know the actual stick of we ran 3 buzz to it. So we had, you know, our overhang was outside it too.
Yeah.
Right, making it look like we were in mini or something like that. And I remember before the game, I looked at the kid. I said, "Look, when I call 3 buzz, it's because I know stick's coming." I said, "Just come flying down and pick it." And the kid, loved this kid. He was unathletic as crap, but did exactly what you said.
Yeah,
he would do exactly what you said. And I remember he looked over the sideline, and I gave him the signal for buzz, and I just kind of just pointed my finger at him, and he came flying down, and he picked it on that. Same thing. Now, my kid did not go for a touchdown because I just said he wasn't athletic. He picked it, and he fell down. But it's a thing like we talk about. Any kind of 3 buzz or 3 sky, yours is kind of more of a 3 sky. It just, that's the thing to go to. If you struggle to stop stick and zone stick, especially, you need to go some kind of strong 3 roll. And I'm not a big strong 3 guy. I'm, you know, Matt knows this. I like to weak rotate cover 3 a lot, but boy, when you got to stop stick, you have to strong rotate cover 3. That's the one thing that does it. And I think this is a great example here, Coach. It's teach tape for it is what it is.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's one of those moments, kind of like your buzz moment. Like you put it in for stuff like this, and it just works to perfection. It's like, holy cow! Like I've been waiting for that. You know,
exactly.
Just been waiting for it. So here's another good. Sorry, this film right here is a little bit shaky. This is actually the same team, but this is the year before in the semifinals. Very similar concept. So I've got my Sam here. He's kind of taking inside. It's 3rd and long, and they hit this little out route right here. My safety doesn't jump it for a pick, but he sees it, and he's flying down, and we make a play at the sticks right here. It's 3rd and 8, and we get off the field. Not a great tackle, but we get the job done here, which is all we're asking for. So, again, it's great for, those kind of concepts and stuff like that where you see coming down. So here's just another example of the safety. Again, I like to disguise it a little bit more than I'm showing on the film here. Like this kid, like I told you, I moved him down to a linebacker his senior year because that's all he wanted to do was play up in the box. So hard for me to get him to stay back and roll into things. So he gave it away a lot. So, I mean, this looks pretty funky and goofy out here. I mean, safety's pretty much in the middle of the field. There's no disguise, but we still make it work. So again, same here. Like this is 3rd and 5, like looking at the situation. I typically like him to roll a little bit harder to this just because of the situation. But again, like he sees it and he puts his foot in the ground and comes up and makes a play, and that's a tackle for a 1 yard gain on third down. Like we'll take that all day long, you know.
Yeah,
So,
now I'm curious on this. Obviously, you know, the rule when a guy goes negative, what do you tell him there? Are you telling him the ball brings you down? Are you telling him, you know, is there kind of a yardage marker that they're at that they're just kind of working horizontal with it? How do you teach that?
So, and again, like this is where I like the flexibility of it, and I'll actually maybe just skip forward because this goes into like my next section pretty well. We kind of like to teach it based on down and distance a lot of the times.
Makes sense.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think that this is kind of really where like you get, I don't want to say like the power of the coverage, but I think this is what makes it so tough, because depending on the down and distance really depends on how hard we're going to send that guy down to roll. Just makes it really cloudy and hard for offenses to kind of pick up on what's going on. Especially like quarterbacks. Again, like you said, like we're dealing with 16, 17-year-old kids. That's just really hard to diagnose, you know? So like, for instance, here, this is 3rd and 10. We've got the call on here. So what we teach our kids here is like, I don't need a hard roll here. Like, why would I need you to roll down to 5 yards when they got to get 10 here, you know? Yeah. So really, the way that we teach this now is he's kind of just robbing the sticks.
Play the sticks, yep.
It's kind of where, you know, I referenced it earlier, that it's kind of got a little bit of a robber feel to it, because he is. So, I mean, you've got to have a kid that is smart, understands, you know, game situations and different things like that. Like, obviously, I'm screaming it from the sideline every time that we get in a situation, and I really don't want him to roll, but I do kind of expect him to know that on the fly too. And this kid does. Like, this kid's a stud. But so, like, I really like this example here. He gets a flat defender. So normally, yeah, like in a 1st and 10 situation, 2nd and 5, like I'd like him to jump that a little bit harder. But it's 3rd and 10 here. He's just sitting here at the sticks. This quarterback's trying really, really hard to make this comeback route work, and we're sitting all over the top of it here, and he throws the ball away.
Yeah.
Corner could have done a little bit better of a job here, coming off and getting that corner route behind him that was open. But for the safety's perspective here, he's very much just robbing the sticks, go make a play. So,
Matt, you know, defensively, I had a coach one time tell me that's the equivalent of not taking the short guy. Don't eat the hot dog when the steak's available behind you.
Yeah.
To this day, I don't really get the reference. I mean, like, I understand what he's trying to reference, but he's like, don't bite on the hot dog when there's a steak wait. And I'm just like, it's a really, really weird analogy to use in coverage.
Kind of a weird way to get to it, but I guess I get what he's saying.
He used to say it all the time too, and I used to be like, Coach, I hate that analogy so much.
So
that's too funny.
As an O-line guy, I got to ask, why not just have both? Like,
yeah, it just seems
a hot dog and a steak.
It's just a weird way to describe it, but every time I see any kind of like smash or layers concept out in the flat, for some reason with that, I guess it worked because it always stuck in my head. So maybe it's stuck in players' heads. It's like, don't bite on the hot dog, wait for the steak.
That's funny.
And
maybe
just like,
that's the psychology behind it. Make it so weird that they don't forget it.
It could be, but I'm just sitting here like, so if I don't eat a hot dog at 3, I get a steak at 5. Like, what does that mean? I just, to this day, still can't get it, Matt.
That's too funny. Well, that's funny. And again, and I guess I should probably preference this too, you know, because I mean, a lot of these things depend on like personnel too, you know, like who you have where. So obviously, like, I put a stud at that safety position because we run this a lot. Need a kid that's like intuitive. He's got instinct. You can trust him out there to make a read, because I've had some things, and not specifically like this coverage, but I've had some stuff in for other positions where it's like, yeah, just read it, you know, based off of this and that. And you get a kid out there that, you know, doesn't have the capability of making the right reads. They'll do what's easy, not the right decision. And so I'd say kind of the same thing for this position. So like this kid, he's a stud. I'm gonna brag on him a little bit here just because he got his first D1 offer yesterday.
Nice.
So this is his junior season. I've got him coming back for one more year. So again, I've got a stud running this for me right here, and he makes me right a lot of the times, even when we're not right running this kind of stuff. So,
Coach, I take notes as we go. I have it circled here on my paper. Number 5 is a dude. I was going to ask you about him. He's a dude out there, man.
He is. No, he's a special player for sure. He's 3-sport athlete. Jumps out of the gym, basketball. I mean, slam dunking all over the place. He's actually the number 1 high jumper in the entire state of Utah.
There it is.
Wow.
So he jumped 6'9" this year, I think, as a junior. Ooh. Jumped 6'8" as a sophomore last year. So just freakish athletic kid. Yeah, explosive. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, he's a stud. So, but here's kind of another example of like your flexibility of it. Again, like I'm not calling this, it's just built in from practice and stuff. These kids know I call my base call. We get 3x1 set. We go to this coverage. It's 3rd and forever. Stay back, right? It almost turns into like a wannabe quarters look a little bit because we just got 4 guys back, So there's a look on that. So this is another look. So this is actually this kid's first varsity game last year. So he's a little raw. So this isn't like teach tape, but it's another good example. It says 3rd and 9, and then we get verts here. And he's just staying back on the sticks. He's been rolling up all game long. I'm sure they're thinking that he's going to be up here in the flat. I'd rather have him kind of more over the 2 guy. He's kind of hugging the corner a little bit here, a little too much. But we should be able to cover all 3 of these guys theoretically because he should be over 2. My safety does a good job rolling over the top of 3 here, and then my corner's got 1. We do get a little bit bailed out here. My middle linebacker gets an insane drop and picks it and takes it to the house. But I do think that does come a little bit from a little bit of a cloudy read for the quarterback there because he's anticipating this guy to roll flat, and all of a sudden he's not. He's kind of just hanging back. So
beautiful 3 up as 3 coverage right there, baby.
Yeah, and this is again, this kid was a stud for us too, and big moment of the game for us. It was awesome. So yeah, picked it, took it to the house. And then this just another good. This is kind of a chaotic play, so don't judge anything else on this play other than but it's 3rd and long, and again he's just sitting at the sticks, and he's just kind of reading the quarterback and just looking to make a play here, and quarterback's kind of scrambling, and he's just doing a good job kind of sitting in windows and being where he needs to be at here. So
yeah.
Okay. Any questions on that portion of it? I guess the safety roll to it. So, okay. So here's some free safety drops. And again, this, I like to disguise it probably a little bit more than we do. Here's a couple clips of us doing a pretty good job of it from the backside. So this is the same look here. It's 3x1. Like, I think we do a pretty good job here disguising that this is like a split safety look pre-snap. I mean, middle of the field is wide open. He's rolling here. He's rolling middle of the field. So again, backside safety does a good job. He kind of opens his hips, gets middle of the field, and gets some depth. And he's able to go get an interception because, again, just a good disguise. I like to think that it's because, they thought the middle of the field was going to be open, and it wasn't. We did get a little bit of a favor that ball got a little bit airmailed, and he was able to go make a play on it. But again, kind of that disguise look a little bit where we've got that middle guy that looks like he's a little bit more cover 2, split field coverage, whatever, rolling just middle of the field. Now the middle of the field's closed. So here's another good example of it here. Again, same thing, pre-snap. I think we got a pretty good, middle of the field open look. Sorry, the huddle camera doesn't keep up with this one as much, but same concept. Kind of gets to the middle, robs that post, goes and gets a pick. So you can get some good things on the backside of that as well with that kind of a coverage. Kind of the way we like to teach the outside linebacker in this, and it kind of goes back to your point, Coach, that this is just like good against like stick concepts. The one that I've really liked it with, this isn't it here, but like I've liked it against like snag concepts and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Because most flat players are just getting abused out there, getting hooked and different things like that. But with the 3 guy, not the 3 guy, but with my outside linebacker, he does kind of sit inside the 3 guy, and his read is just really simple. It's just 3 to 2 to 1. 3 goes inside, my eyes go to the new, to 2. He goes out. I'm just looking at anything coming back in at me. So I think this is a pretty good look here. 3 releases vertical, and he stays inside of him. But then he gets his eyes in, he sees the two guys coming in now, and he comes up, hits the kid, makes a play. That's how we want it to look right there, 100% for sure. So that looks good, and it's the same concept. If the one guy was to come in, I'll kind of show you on this one. So this is like a snag concept. He's kind of playing a little bit tight here. He's actually got his eyes on the two guy. He's doing a good job reading the quarterback, kind of going to where he's taking him here. But naturally, he's getting right inside that snag window, and that's what I've noticed a lot. Running this coverage is you'll have that free safety rolling down here to the flat. Your snag guy's taught to, come around and hook the flat guy and find a hole. Well, it's a little bit harder for that receiver to find who the flat guy is, for one. And then two, he's working his way out, and 9 times out of 10 he usually ends up in that window, just depending on how the concepts and stuff develop. So I think that's a good one here, but he does a good job coming out here on the out route. Safety's there to make a play too if he needs to, but yeah, that's been those are concepts that traditionally we struggled with a little bit before we started running this. Now we're running this stuff, and it has been a good answer for us for some of those things too. So,
Coach, you're killing my notes. I take snag. I have no snag/stick against cover 3 roll, and you just covered both of those. I have nothing to talk about at the end of this.
I have nothing to talk about at the end of this.
I have a question. I'm going to do the offensive thing for once. Here we go. I assume I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask. All right, back set weak in the back wheels. Does the will have to take them at that point?
So we make it easy for our kids. Sometimes it hurts us a little bit in like our pass rush. I have an automatic, my both outsides, if they're on a blitz or they're out here in the back, swings out, we pill 100% of the time.
Okay.
So like on the backside of trips, 10 out of 10 times this outside hanger is going to take him, whether he's on a blitz call or he's not blitzing. So that's how we kind of deal with it. And it does make it a little bit easier. My philosophy is, and it's more just my matchups more than anything, but I try to keep my middles in the box out of pass coverage as much as I can, as much as I can. Like obviously they get their pass drops and stuff like that, but I'm never going to ask one of these middle linebackers to get out of the box and cover a wheel route from the running back or come out of the box and man up like a slot, because that's usually a matchup nightmare for me. They're usually a little bit out athleticized when we do that. So that's kind of how I try to structure like my coverages and stuff as much as I can. So
yeah, no, that makes sense. I know, if I'm a head coach, even being a defensive guy, I'm looking at my OC. If he says, what do I do? I said, you better check that wheel a couple times just to see if you can get it right. If they're rolling strong 3, because that's, Coach, I've run it too, right? When we're in 3 buzz or anything like that, that's the thing we have to be cognizant of. I always said, for us, we're 4 down, so it's our will. Hey, make sure we're calling 3 buzz. You better have your eye on that back if you set weak, because that's your dude. So don't let him run by you now.
For sure. And and it goes back to me as a play caller. There's been a couple times, like I did it in the state championship game this year. Like I sent this outside linebacker on like a cross stunt where he goes back inside the box and, gap exchanges with the end. Yeah. And they wheeled the back out of the backfield, and we were hosed because I just took him out of position. And I knew better than that, and I spaced it. So like I put that more on me as a play caller. And so that was the last time I called that call for the rest of the game. So
yeah.
So let's see. Okay. So one thing, and I put this in here, this is probably like a really bad example. The thing that this does give you, if you like to do this stuff, like it makes it a lot easier to bring strong pressure from the outside, from like that outside nickel and that outside backer. I don't typically like to do that a lot, just because typically the kids that I have out here are just better react kind of kids than blitz kids, especially this kid, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Sometimes it does get a little bit scary to get leveraged with bubbles and things like that as well. If I'm blitzing him, I kind of lose, my extra defender coming into that, and we have been hurt on that a couple of times too. But you can structure it to where we can be a little bit better, and you can send this kid. So he's already tight. I mean, this looks like any of the other clips that I've shown you. I couldn't tell you if he's blitzing or not pre-snap, but we end up, sending a pressure here, and we're able to use him in the pressure, essentially, is what that looks like. So he ends up coming in and he doesn't do anything, but he's able to be part of that pressure. If you got a stud out there on the strong side and you like to bring him a little bit more, then I think that this gives you a little bit more flexibility than trying to bring him from all the way out on the trip side and different things like that too. He's a little bit closer to the box. So,
Coach, you ever hear like, hey, this isn't a great example. I watch you guys just absolutely maul the defense on a pressure. Like, that's a good example, Coach. I love it. That got me excited. I was expecting for him to stand up and throw a screen for 60 the way you preference the whole play, and then you just annihilate the O-line.
That's too funny. Well, I guess not a good example of my outside linebacker having an effective blitz himself, I guess.
It's a pretty effective outcome, though, Coach.
It was. No, that one was a good one. I actually really like that pressure. We run that one a little bit. Same thing here. So this is actually a mixed look of everything we've been talking about. So we're in our base call. It's a 2x2 set here. I already originally had this kid tagged to blitz. And again, I like this. I don't know. And I don't know how other people do it, but like I've struggled in the past before sometimes with like, okay, I've got this blitz call, but the emotion of this, I don't like it anymore. And, it's just a lot of thinking for the kids. Oh, well, if they do this, check out of this, check to this. And I try and avoid that as much as I can. So having this coverage in place with our base, I can keep that blitz call on and still feel like we have our bases covered. We're not leaving any gigantic holes. So they motion into 3x1 set. You can see everybody's kind of giving each other their signal here. My safety's rolling over the top. He's going to start to back off to get to his deep third. This is my outside safety, and he's going to kind of shuffle to get himself positioned in the flat a little bit. And my Mike does a really good job here, knowing that he's kind of got to account for this Sam now in the pass coverage and get out to the 3 guy. So again, here's my bad example of a bad blitz. I mean, the blitz does absolutely nothing for the play here. He comes off the edge and gets checked by the tackle, but my Mike does a good job coming over, taking care of the new 3 guy. I've got a guy sitting in the flats here, and then obviously I've got a guy over the top for that deep route for the deep third back there. So again, it allows us to not have to have as many like built-in checks and different things like that, which I really like. Lets the kids kind of just play and not have to worry about, thinking too much about different things like that. Same example here. This is just, from the boundary, we got a 3x1 to the boundary. So kind of blitz that guy off the edge there. So he's coming this way. And actually, I think what he was doing, I remember talking to him after, he's like, well, I thought this guy was going out for a route. He was thinking he's pilling with him, which that wasn't the case. But he actually does kind of end up coming back in and helping with the play a little bit there too. So last example here. Again, he's coming off the edge. It's a 3x1 set. They kind of do a little shady motion. We're shifting a little bit, but we still stay in the roll call here. So he blitzes off the edge untouched, and it's good because he would have done this regardless. So it kind of saved his butt that we were in this coverage. He went for the ball, but luckily we still had our safety coming down. So he was able to kind of go be a little bit more aggressive to that side too. So, okay, I think that's my last one that I've got for that one there. So the last thing I was going to show you was just like a couple of adjustments that we've thrown in, just depending on the teams and stuff that we play, because there is some flexibility with, pre-snap alignment and some different things that we can do here. So one thing, it's always a little bit scary backside to just be completely like ISO back there, just put that kid on an island. We typically have done pretty well with it. We try and put our best cover guys on the backside that we know is, locked down man-to-man. We have had instances, though, where, we feel like we need to put a little bit of extra help out there. For whatever reason, they might be running, some sort of like a gift route out here, and they've hit us on like some hitches or some quick slants, or we feel like we just got to get our hands on him and slow him down because, he's a speedy kid and I'm a little bit worried he's going to take the top off. So I can take that outside linebacker and kind of play with him a little bit out here. And we've done that before. So like here, I was trying to take away anything quick as far as quick slant hits with the backer and let this corner just kind of worry about any deep stuff is what we're doing here. And he plays with it a little bit, but he kind of just bumps out here. And we sometimes we'll come up and we'll bump him and we'll, be physical with him. Sometimes we'll kind of roll into it a little bit. Like right here, I honestly would have even mind him being up on the line a little bit more. But the call here was we're trying to jump something out here because we knew that they like to run a lot of these backside quick routes, and I wanted them to show blitz and then kind of jump back into that passing lane. It's one of those that I'm still waiting for my like moment when I call that call and it ends up working to get like a pick out of it. But we've stopped some of their quick game by doing some stuff like that. So I'm like, that's kind of an adjustment that you can have, you know, if this ISO kid is giving you some issues. I know a lot of offenses do like to put their best guy out here too for that reason. And so if you need to have a little bit of extra help, it's fairly simple to solve that. So another thing that we can do, I guess it's the same concept. This is the same thing. We put him head up here. I don't even know. I think this kid was kind of just playing around with it. This was like before the end of the half. So I've kind of got everybody backed off, and then he wanted to just blitz from that position, I guess. But if you guys are corner blitz guys, I guess that's a way that you can kind of put a boundary corner blitz type look in there too, is put that outside linebacker over the top and then send him. So just
Matt, he says if we're corner blitz guys, I don't know. Coach,
I
day
say
one
that
install. Day one install for me. Corner blitz.
Day one. I might need to pick your brain about it. I've always kind of wanted to do it, but I've never really had corners that I've wanted to do it with.
Oh yeah, you do.
One of these days,
we'll talk when we get off. I got some stuff for you. Don't worry.
Okay, I like that. I feel like I should be able to do it fairly easy out of the way I'm doing things too. I just need to do it and put it in there. So,
oh yeah.
So another adjustment that we do, and sometimes the kids naturally do this. Sometimes it's game planned. This was a game plan for sure here. So anytime that we saw like this tight bunch formation, it's 3-by-1, so we want to play our roll to it. But we knew that they were trying to get outside. They were trying to just smash everybody down and get around the edge. So instead of rolling the safety to it, we just walked the outside up, bumped this top guy, and he was just sitting flats out here immediately. And so pre-snap alignment, we just put him in a better position to come up and help with the run. So that's another adjustment that you could make if, you know, teams are having. I've done it with bubbles too. Like if my safety's struggling getting down on like those bubbles, I'll just tell them to play up instead of like roll into it and disguise it as much. Just tell them to come up, and that'll either discourage him from even throwing the bubble right off the bat, or he's kind of in a better place that he can play that a little bit too if we need it. So another thing that we did here, it's kind of the same. It's a little bit of a goofy look. We weren't as worried about these guys' inside run game here, because typically I'd probably rather have him apex here and then still just kind of roll into this look. These guys were just like so gung-ho about getting outside, like just trying to stretch and get outside. So we had the Sam come out and bump here, and then we had this guy kind of lever the outside just so that we didn't get out leveraged on the outside by anybody and get, you know, sealed. And it ended up working out really well for us in this game because, yeah, they just loved those quick tosses and different things like that to the trips. And they'd even do it out of like empty sets. I think here's an empty set that did the same thing, but we just adjusted pre-snap kind of where we put that kid. And yeah, we were able to combat that pretty well. So I think for the most part, that was about everything that I had for you guys. There might be some other stuff that I might be missing as far as some of those, but I think that covers, you know, the bulk of why we like to run this coverage. And we don't run this to all 3-by-1 sets. You know, we do have some other calls to mix it up so we're not predictable and things like that. But we have found lots of success with a lot of the teams that we play running this kind of a style of a coverage to them. So.
Yeah, absolutely. No, Coach, I like it. Matt, you got some quick notes before I move on to some of our other questions we always ask?
Coach destroyed my notes. All I have left is that the Bulldogs have a really nice bus, and the Thunderbirds is a cool mascot name.
There you go. Perfect.
That's the stuff you noticed when we do this. I love it.
That's funny. Thunderbirds is their college down here. It's Southern Utah University. So that's where we play a lot of our playoff games and stuff like that. So
love that. All right, Coach. So we ask every coach that comes on the podcast the same question. All right. It's not a football thing. Well, I mean, it is, but it isn't. What is the most unique or different thing that your program does that not a lot of other people do in the country?
So one of the things that we do that I really like, I don't know if this used to be a thing back in the day and we've just kind of kept doing it, but for as long as I remember. So I grew up here at San Juan. I played for San Juan. I've got uncles that played for San Juan. So I mean, like, we've got a really rich tradition of, football here. Dating back to, I can't remember the first year that they did it, but I know at least 1988, every single year after the season's done, we get like a highlight film of the season. And it's like a hour and a half long, like, production, clipped out by game. It goes in sequence, game one all the way through the season. Put music to it, whatever, but it's just, we call it just the highlight film is what we call it. And I really like it. It's actually turned out to be kind of a culture builder in a lot of ways. One, it's kind of a cool tribute to do for the seniors. It's kind of a parting gift. They can always have it. They can always go back and watch it, relive, the season, their memories, all the good things that happened as a senior. But then at the same time, we kind of use that almost as like a motivator too for, underclassmen as well, to kind of get them excited about football and things like that. Like, I remember when I was in high school, like, I used to just put on all the highlight films. Like, my uncle was part of the first state championship team here in 1989. And I think I still have the old VHS tape that they put the old highlight film on. And I used to watch that thing all the time when I was in high school. It's been a while since I've watched it, but so we do that at the end of every year, and it's just a really cool thing that I think that we do. I actually am the one that it fell on to start doing it. So, like, I actually produce those every year. It's a chore, but I love doing it at the same time because it ends up really meaning a lot to these kids in a really cool way. Because, like I said, I mean, all of us played football. It's one of those things that, man, like, when you're a senior and you graduate and it's done, it's kind of hard to come to grips with. It's hard to move on and go to other stages of life, but it's always something that you can kind of always look back on and rekindle, like, those memories and stuff like that. And it's always, and then you can use it as brag tape, for your kids when you're trying to tell them how good they were. You can actually show them, so anyways, yeah, I don't know if that's unique, but it's something that we do, put a lot of time and effort into it, and it's really helped a lot for our culture and different things like that, I think, in a lot of ways. And it's just a cool thing, I think. So
yeah, I mean, for you guys also, if you're listening still, I buried the lead a little bit. They are, if you read their Twitter bio on their high school, 10-time state champ, 23-time region champ, 48 consecutive playoff appearances. Having those highlight tapes and showing it to previous teams, like you said, as a motivator, makes a lot of sense, right? If you guys were 5-5 every year, or 6-4, probably like, hey, watch that time we went 6-4, missed the playoff, boys. That's what it was about, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make much sense, but like you said, if they're watching great team after great team that previously came through, it does feel like something that's a motivator, right? That's the standard. The standard is, this is what we do, so you guys got to come in and uphold that standard. So I think that makes a lot of sense, right? That doesn't always make a lot of sense not that it doesn't make sense to make highlight tapes, but you get what I'm saying of having that tradition of having it and showing it and all those different things, especially when you've established culture like that.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's fun, and like I'll go back and like I watch them a bunch just because I produce them now. But it's fun. Like, it really does like capture, kind of the magnitude and like the emotion and all that kind of stuff, especially when you're, going back and watching, the state championship game, and you get to see all these kids hold that trophy up again. I mean, that's just on repeat for a lot of these kids when they go back and they watch it, like, that's the image that's in their head. And yeah, and I think it does really have that effect for these kids. It helps them to uphold the standard that we've been able to do here at San Juan. And if you guys want to check them out, we've got a YouTube page, and we've got all the last years on there. So if you want to go subscribe to I run the YouTube page. So
love it. Love it.
I've checked that out.
They have 30 years of running highlight films, and I've gone through great lengths to make sure mine has been destroyed where no one can ever see it. So
that's too dang funny.
Love it. Well, Coach, I appreciate you hopping on with us tonight. Matt, did you have any parting words? You got a pensive look in your face.
That's good stuff. No, I was I was doing something else. It got me distracted. I used to have a marketing class. I taught sports marketing class, and we used to do highlights for the football team. And
that's cool.
show it to the middle schools and stuff like that, and a way to hype up the kids coming in. And that was always a great tool. So I started going back, okay, do I still have that stuff?
I might need to get some pointers for me then too, because I am self-taught and I need somebody to come take it away from me. I wish we had some kids at the high school that.
Yeah, you may be talking to the two right guys. I do video editing for a living, so
yeah, you know the grind.
That's Kyle's specialty.
Amongst other things. Anyways, if you're still listening, we appreciate you hanging on to the very end. Coach Bowring, thanks for joining us tonight. It's always been a pleasure, and we will see you guys next week on the Board Drill Podcast.